Hey, welcome B-Siders to a brand new episode. I'm glad you're joining me again today, where I welcome Laura Mack to the microphone today. Laura is a health and wellness coach, and she is helping adults who want to make lasting changes in their personal well-being. And her story is a very inspirational one, so I can't wait to dive in. But first off, hello, Laura. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm very excited to talk to you today because I think your story is not just inspiration, but also one that hopefully gives others strength to know that they can get through tough times, because I'm sure there's many of us going through that right now. So, but before we head into your story, tell us a little bit about, you know, I've already introduced you in what you do, but is there anything you want to add to that before we dive into your story?
Um, Essentially, I'll just give a little bit of background on my journey and how I ended up as a health and wellness coach.
Sure.
I worked in the corporate world for many years, and I was not the most healthy person. I did live the old-fashioned work hard, play hard lifestyle. I ate the wrong things, drank a lot of alcohol, and I ended up suffering the consequences of it. I gained weight, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, things like that. And then I met a health coach and started working with her. And it was completely transformational for me. I lost a lot of weight and I just started feeling amazing. And when I realized that this was actually something I could share with other people, I was inspired to get the training and become a health coach. And my mission now is to help as many people as I can to go through the same transformation. So that's it in a nutshell.
Wonderful. And yeah, our health is the most important thing, because without it we can't really do anything. So
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. And kind of my motto is I help people to essentially feel better so they could become the best version of themselves and then live the best life for themselves. So that's my mission.
wonderful. Great. I'm hoping a lot of people will take that on board even before we go any further. That'd be wonderful. Now, I've invited you to my podcast today because you have a very sad but also inspiring, and obviously the outcome is positive story to tell, and there's obviously music involved in it. So maybe start, I don't know where you want to start with this story. Do you want to start where it happened, or do you want to have a little bit of an intro to it? I'll leave that up to you, because maybe a little bit of sort of a build up to it might be the
Sure.
best thing.
Yeah. Well, I can, I'll start just a little bit of background
Mhm.
before the quote unquote incident.
Yeah.
Um, in October of 2010, I was living in Seattle, Washington, USA. And my husband and I had just recently become empty nesters. The kids had all moved out and we were living a pretty good life. We were living right in downtown Seattle and just we had a really great life. Unfortunately, my mother became very ill. So we had to move out of Seattle and move back to Phoenix, where we had originally met, to help take care of my mother because of her health. Sorry, I had to clear
Okay.
my throat. Uh, so essentially, we moved back to Phoenix, kind of got settled in our life there. And a couple months later, December 5th, 2010, we were in a very serious car accident. Horrific, actually, accurately describes it. We were sitting at a traffic light, waiting to make a left-hand turn. And of course, in the US, we drive on the right. So it's, the opposite side of the road we were turning onto. And this woman, under the influence of PCP, plowed into the back of our car, going almost 90 miles an hour. And our car exploded. And we had just picked up two nightstands for our new bedroom set. And those nightstands became essentially missiles. And she rear-ended us. The nightstands moved forward and the car exploded. We were pushed through the intersection, and both my husband and I were knocked unconscious. The people she almost hit before she hit us, and a police officer who was about to go off duty, pulled us out of the burning car. And if it wasn't for those good Samaritans, I would not be sitting here speaking to you right now. So yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Sadly, we never had the opportunity to thank those people. So if they happen to hear this, thank you, good Samaritans. We are eternally grateful to all of them. But essentially, it became a very interesting journey for both of us. I was the driver in the car, so the nightstand behind me was laying on its side, and the nightstand behind my husband was upright. And because of that, we had completely different injuries. And they actually took us to two different hospitals. But none of the EMTs thought we were going to make it to the hospital at all. And that was pretty remarkable. For me, it was my injuries were my vocal cords were damaged, so that's why I kind of sound a little breathy on occasion. I received burns on my left arm, my left hand, and my left hip. So these were third-degree burns that would eventually require skin grafts. And my left hip was fractured, and my pelvic ring was fractured in 3 different places. And because of all that, I ended up having to live in a wheelchair for 3 months. So it was, I always thought I was sensitive to the needs of disabled people. But once you actually experience that, it's very eye-opening what it's like to live that life. So because of the burns that I experienced, they put me in a medically induced coma. And so for me, it was the afternoon of December 5th. My mom was back in the hospital. As soon as we were done with our errands that we were running that afternoon, I was going to go back to the hospital to visit with my mother again. And I went from that moment to the next thing I knew, it was right before New Year's Eve. So about December 29th, 30th. And I'm lying in a hospital and I had no idea why. I had no idea what had happened. It was pretty crazy. And so my husband's injuries, he lacerated his spleen, tore his rotator cuff, and broke most of his back. A good portion of his spine is now metal. But remarkably, he was only in the hospital and rehab combined just for a few weeks. So by the time I woke up in the hospital, he was already out and walking and moving around. And I mean, he wasn't himself because obviously he was still recovering, but it was amazing that he was walking. And he's the one that told me when I asked him, I said, what happened? And the interesting thing, because of the vocal cords and because of the coma, I was intubated. So I went to speak and no noise came out. So I couldn't communicate really. So I was just kind of mouthing what happened. And he told me, he goes, we were in an accident. He goes, we almost died. And the comprehension when he said that, it was just, my mind I couldn't wrap my head around it. It was crazy. And it was one of those, because we were always the caretakers. We always, we left Seattle to move back to Phoenix to take care of my mom. Those were the things we always did. So for us to be the victims, it was so foreign to me to be like that. And it's just like, I don't understand. Um, but then when it really sunk in, I was like, oh my God, we almost died. And it just like, it was so hard to comprehend that. But
Mm.
it certainly changes your perspective on things, and makes you really, really appreciate
Mm.
the everything in life, especially the most important things in life.
Wow.
Family, friends, loved ones, all of that.
Wow. What a story so far. I mean, I'm just sitting here and as my brain can't wrap itself around everything, especially the
Yeah,
part where you said you realized you could have died, but you're alive. That I think,
yeah,
I guess if you've not been there, you just can't comprehend it. It's just not possible, is it? I mean, how can you unless you're in it?
yeah. It's pretty remarkable.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, one of the some of the nurses at the hospital where I was started calling us the miracles
Oh
because we had
gosh.
survived. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was one of those where I always live by the philosophy of everything happens for a reason.
Mm.
And in fact, my son had posted that on Facebook. He goes, Mom, you always say everything happens for a reason, but I can't imagine why this happened. And then we saw the police report, and we learned that every other car that she nearly missed, she just missed these cars, had a small child in the back seat. And had
Wow.
she hit any of those cars, one of those children would have died. So when I learned that, and forgive me if I start getting a little emotional,
That's
um,
okay.
when I learned that, I was like, I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit so those babies can live, because we obviously could take it because we're here. And
Wow.
yeah, it was a pretty remarkable journey. I I was in the hospital for a little bit longer than a month, and then I went into rehab for 2 weeks after that because I had to learn how to live in a wheelchair and just regain my strength. It was really amazing to me how quickly my muscles atrophied. And I guess I should also provide the background that when this happened, my husband and I were playing ice hockey. We played in a co-ed ice hockey league together. And one of the surgeons had told my father-in-law, had we not been hockey players, he didn't think that we would have survived the impact of the crash. So we always like to say that hockey literally helps save our lives. I mean, we're clearly big hockey fans anyway, but it was like, okay, bonus because it's a great sport. Anyway,
Wow.
fast forward, I get out of the hospital. I finally get to go home, and just this alternate reality that I came home to was just,
Mm.
it was amazing. It was just, I mean, thankfully at the time we were living in a ground floor apartment because I
Yeah.
was able to get into the apartment, and but there were things like we little things. We had to switch the sides of the beds that we excuse me, slept on, because I couldn't get to where I used to sleep. Like the wheelchair didn't fit.
Mm.
So I lived like this for 3 months. And there was some concern from medical professionals and family and friends because they were concerned that I was going to start to feel down being in that situation.
Wow.
But I was able to gain perspective on it. Like I said, I learned to appreciate more the blessings I had in my life, starting with I was alive, I was
Mm.
still here. Um, and then I knew it was temporary. So I was
Oh,
like, okay, I
so
can do this.
yeah.
It's temporary.
So
You know.
had was it temporary because you were told that you would be able to get out of the wheelchair or
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, so you already knew that you're not going
Yeah,
to be in a wheelchair forever, so you will eventually walk again. Okay,
right,
cool. Yeah,
right.
sure, sure.
Yeah. So I knew I was only going to be in the wheelchair for 3 months. So that helped.
Of course,
Um,
yeah.
and so when that 3 months came along, and the day came where I could finally stand, I was really excited because I could
Mm,
finally get out of the wheelchair. But I was
yeah.
also really nervous because I wasn't sure if it was going to be painful. And like I mentioned earlier, my muscles had atrophied so much that I had to use a walker just to stand up. And then I had to use a walker again for another 3 months as I literally learned to walk again.
Mm,
And I think that kind of ties into the conversation we were talking about is
yeah.
I've been a huge Foo Fighters fan
There you go.
for
Here we are.
forever. Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
made it to the part where
And
the
their
music
song,
comes in.
exactly, yeah. And their song Walk became my theme song. And there's so many lines in that song that tied into the experience I was going through,
Yeah, yeah,
down to was it I can't you see I've waited long enough? And then literally learning to walk again. And
yeah,
yeah, that was my theme song
yeah.
as I went through
Awesome.
this.
So did you obviously knew the song before because you're a Foo Fighter, but how did that
Mhm.
came? Do you remember how it came about that you picked that one? Was it just because it
Oh.
says walk, or do you remember how
Well,
you sort of?
yeah, it was I the song came on. It came on the radio. And it was after I had started walking again. I remember I had a physical therapist that would come to our house, and he even had to teach me how to stand up properly. And it's really amazing how quickly you forget these things. So I was seated and I was trying to stand straight up. And he had to remind me, when you think about it, you lean forward as you're getting up. And he had to teach me how to lean forward to stand up again. And and just taking those steps. And I had braces on both of my legs. I had these ugly plastic braces. And I had to get shoes that were 2 sizes too big for me, so my I could wear shoes because the braces were too big for me to wear uh my regular shoes. And my husband and his friend were in our bedroom fixing our bed. We had to take out the box spring from our bed because I couldn't get into it from the wheelchair. It was too high up. And they were updating our bed because now I was going to be able to get back into it in a normal way. And I remember being so excited because I was walking down the hallway and I was calling for my husband. I'm like, look, I was like a little kid. Look what I can do. And shortly after that, Walk came on the radio and I was like, that's my theme song. That's the song. And even to this day, when I hear it, I get a little emotional. We're coming up on the 13-year anniversary since this accident. And I still get emotional when I hear the song.
Mm.
We
No,
were, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Oh,
I
I
was
was going to,
just wondering about the Foo Fighters in general. Were you fans before that song came out? Obviously, you said you always loved them, but in a
oh,
way, I
yeah.
would love for you to sort of say that Dave Grohl and the boys of Foo Fighters, like, you were there, you were kind of cheering me on. That would be so amazing. I'd
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that.
It's like, thank you, Dave, for writing that inspirational song.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, I've been a Foo Fighters fan for a very, very, very long time. Uh, he, Dave Grohl, uh, the first Foo Fighters album, and I know this because he announces it almost every time he plays in Seattle. The town where he wrote the songs and essentially formed the idea of Foo Fighters was next to a town where a suburb of Seattle where we've raised our son. So he was almost my neighbor. Uh, but yeah, I've since the beginning, I've been a Foo Fighters fan, and I was very, very fortunate to when they were doing, I can't remember the name of the album now, it's escaping me, but it was the album where they toured around the US and they wrote a different song for each town they were visiting. And they started in the DC area where Dave Grohl grew up, and they ended in Seattle, where obviously he formed the band. And there's this small venue in Pike Place Market called the Showbox. And it's a great place to go see a show. And the Foo Fighters kind of did a surprise concert at the Showbox. And tickets went on sale maybe a day or two before, and it was very secret. And a friend of mine who's equally as big a fan was able to get tickets, and I got the opportunity to be his plus one. So I was pretty excited about that because not only were Foo Fighters there, but a lot of Seattle music legends were there. I saw Nancy Wilson from Heart. Sir Mix-a-Lot was there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just a lot of different people were there, and it was so incredibly amazing. And but it was like going to see the Foo Fighters like in as like back in their bar band days. It was amazing. You know, to go to the restroom, you had to walk past the stage. So it was just kind of it was pretty wild.
Wow, that sounds incredible.
Yeah,
Imagine, I mean, that's
yeah,
probably like everyone's dream to see like your favorite band in such an intimate setting where you can basically go
yeah. It
like
was
this and touch
amazing.
them, you know?
Oh well, yeah. My friend. He basically I don't know if he actually touched him or not because Dave moves a lot, but he was close enough that he could. I didn't go down to the front of the stage like that, but my friend was there, and it was pretty funny. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, where was I? It was essentially that song. It brings back memories, frustration, the pain, the physical pain that I did feel, but also the drive to keep going. You know, and I mean, even I wrote down one of my favorite lines. It's the sacrifice, the knowing to survive. I mean, there's so many lines in that particular song that resonated with that experience for me. And even when he starts saying, "I never want to die," I'm like, yeah, I'm there. That's the song. You know, just there's so many
Oh,
things that
yeah.
yeah, it related to that particular song. It was my anthem, if you
Oh,
will.
that's incredible. Makes me, I feel a bit teary actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Good though. It's amazing. It's amazing. It reminds me of a wonderful chat I had with one of my guests from I think a couple of episodes back, and she had to learn to walk again as well, and she had to walk with a walker, and she also had a theme song that kind of said, you know, get going, you can do this, and that just I don't know, that just gives me such goosebumps that's there's people out there who write these songs and then they put it out there and they have no idea, like literally none, or maybe they have some form of a maybe that this helps one person to do something that they either never have done or get them back on their feet literally. I mean, that's to me, it's my head can't wrap itself around that. You know, it's to me that's so
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. I mean, when you think about the bands that are the most popular, they all they tap into something that resonates with so many people. And again, I mean, when we were fortunate to go see Foo Fighters a couple months ago, we're back in Washington again, and we flew down back to Arizona to go see the Foo Fighters in Arizona, and just to watch the crowd and how everyone just connects, most especially with Dave Grohl, but with the whole band. And just kind of the I'll say camaraderie, but it doesn't seem like there's a bond there to be in the crowd at a Foo Fighters concert or any band that you really, really love. I experienced this with U2 as well. Just when the crowd starts singing along and just that connection, just a enormous human connection everyone has with these particular songs. It's remarkable.
Oh my God, absolutely. I've been lucky. I've been lucky enough to see the Foo Fighters several times and U2 a few times. So I can relate to what you're saying, and I believe at this point while we're recording this episode, the Foo Fighters are actually in Australia right now. So
Oh, are they really? Oh,
I think they're just literally we're in Perth, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and they're literally over here now. So Dave Grohl,
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
listening or seeing this, you saved a life here. So or you
Yes,
helped
yes.
a life
Thank you,
get back
Dave.
on his. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Just yeah, it was that song. I watched the video again yesterday, and
it's a funny
it
video, actually.
it is. It's a very funny video.
I think it's based on a movie with Michael Douglas, isn't it?
Yes, it
Where he
is.
goes
Yeah,
nuts. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But it was just something where I haven't actually heard the song in a while, and I knew we were going to talk about it, so I wanted to hear it again, just so I I could tap into and speak to what I feel when I hear that song. And
Mm.
I started to say when we saw them in Arizona again a couple months ago, uh, Walk. They started to play Walk, and I started to cry. I started to tear up, and it's still a very, very powerful song for
Mm.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do I can relate. It's probably the better word to say because I have one song that every time I hear it, if especially live, I don't even have a special. I don't have a special connection as such, but just when I hear it, I'm just kind of a mess. And it's Everlong. I just love that song. And every
Oh my
time
goodness,
when
yes.
he plays this live, it's just you can ask my husband. He looks at me like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" I
Oh
don't
yeah,
have
no.
I don't have a special. It just hits me. I don't know why. It's just the way he sings it, and then the song itself, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just so powerful. I just
Mm-hmm.
kind of lose it. It's just, yeah, it's just one of those songs where I can't
Yeah,
explain why, but it just hits you straight in the heart.
absolutely. No, that's definitely
You
another
know?
one, especially for my husband and me. He actually has some of the lyrics tattooed on his arm.
Oh,
So it's a
really?
powerful song for him. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. This it's I find it amazing that these people actually can write songs, and then there's might be just one line, and that
Mm-hmm.
one line is just all you need and all you hear, and you go, oh my God,
Yeah.
what? Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if you hear the Foo Fighters just on the radio, on CD or whatever else, or on Spotify, wherever else you want to go, but then experience them live is a whole nother level. I'm actually bummed
Oh,
I'm not being
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I'm bummed I can't see him this time round because yeah, there's stuff happening that, prevents me from going.
Yeah.
But if you can go, please.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Dave Grohl is such an amazing entertainer.
Hmm.
He's
Absolutely.
funny. I mean, he's an amazing musician. He writes wonderful songs, but he's funny. He's a funny individual. And he was making dad jokes when we saw him in Arizona. And so, to see your favorite rock star making dad jokes is pretty funny.
And it to me always feels like he's very down to earth. He's not
Mm-hmm.
he's not one of those, oh, I'm a rock star. He's just like, yeah,
Right.
whatever. I do music. Yeah, I have a good time with my boys. Yep.
Ex-
And I can share it with you. Fantastic. Like
exactly. Yeah.
so.
And I think that's why he appeals to so many people because he is like that. Yeah. That's his
Mm.
approach.
You could probably imagine him meeting him in a bar or somewhere else and have like a coffee or a beer with him, and just have a chat.
Yes.
That's just how I
Yes.
see him. He wouldn't, I mean, I
I
wouldn't,
see that too. Yeah.
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 I mean, I would leave him his
If I
privacy. I
had
don't think I would approach him, but that's just how, you can imagine it to be. So
exactly, yeah, yeah. If I ever had the opportunity to have a beer with him, I would just ask him, "How do you scream so much and not kill your voice?" Because yeah,
yeah.
that's what I want to know.
Did he have any like vocal training to do what he does? Because if you know what it's like when you go to a concert after like an hour or so, your voice just goes
Yeah,
completely, it's gone if you don't have any vocal training.
exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. Oh my
Uh,
God. I wonder if he uses that kind of voice at home. The
oh yeah,
excited
could you
kind of
imagine?
scream voice.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, oh God, we've gone down the Foo Fighter rabbit hole, which is amazing. I love it. But so that song obviously helped you get back on your feet.
Yeah.
If you, and I know we've touched on that a little bit, if you could say anything to Dave about that song, what would you say to him if you had the opportunity to sort of send him a message about
If I
that
could
song
say it,
and how it has
um,
helped you?
I would say, well, first I would thank him for writing such a great song. But I would say, Dave, when I was hurting, when I was weak, when I was struggling, if I heard that song, that would keep me going. So thank you for writing such an inspirational song. Because even today, almost 13 years later, it still keeps me going. So thank you.
I'm going to wipe away my tears in the
Oh,
sink.
oh.
That's just so incredible. I just love this so much. I can't convey it properly, so I just got to leave it simple. But yeah, that just gives me goosebumps all over. It's the power of music is just incredible and amazing, and yeah,
It
unbelievable.
absolutely is. Yeah, and I mean, when you look back on human history, I mean, music's always played such a big part in almost everyone's life. I just um people who don't like music, which I don't know if I know anyone, but I don't understand. I just how can you not have music in your life? You know.
That could go into a whole nother topic about we are vibration. Vibration is music. Vibration,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sound. So we're all musical beings, and that's probably why we connect so deeply to it. One
absolutely.
another created.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, science has shown that it stimulates just about every part of our brain. So
right.
especially was it our limbic system? Um, so it stimulates, you know, our feel good instincts or motivation and it stimulates all areas. I mean, even when you're not feeling good, you've got your sad songs that kind of resonate with how you're feeling. And I love obviously the Foo Fighters, but that's not the only music I listen to. I'll listen to blues, I listen to jazz, listen to classical and classic rock. And um, I have very eclectic taste in music, but because all of it resonates with how are we feeling that day.
Mm, yes, absolutely. And I do love being able to listen to different genres of music because there's so much different styles that can give you different emotions, help you with different things. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've always, like yourself, been someone that listens to different genres, and I don't want to say I find it a little bit hard sometimes to understand if someone is just fixed on one genre. But if that's what they need
Right.
and it helps them, great. I'm all for that. But for me personally, I
Mm-hmm.
like to listen to different kind of things. So yeah. Now I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but
Okay.
I would love to know if there is a song that would describe where you are in life right now, and maybe you could share the why.
Sure. Can I share two? Would that
Of
be okay?
course. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, go
Um,
for it.
um, one of the ones that I love is Kelly Clarkson's "What Doesn't Kill You," which is my new theme song. Uh, Obviously, it's been a while since our accident, but I still, every time I hear that song, it makes me feel very strong and very powerful and victorious, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And
Great
I
song.
love I love the way I feel when that song comes on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a great video on YouTube. I think it's the cancer ward at Seattle Children's Hospital. They did a lip sync of Kelly Clarkson, "What Doesn't Kill You," and it's a great video because they have the kids lip syncing the song, the patients lip syncing the song, and there's this great video of this one kid where he's holding a little sign where it says "stronger," and they're wheeling him down the hallway on his whatever machine he's attached to as he's holding the sign. And now I'm getting emotional, but it's so inspirational because there's other scenes where the kids are dancing and they're hooked up to their oxygen, but they're still embracing life, and I love that. So that's kind of my new anthem
Mm-hmm.
is Kelly Clarkson "Stronger." And describe my life now. Probably the best one would be "My Way." And you can choose which version, Frank Sinatra, Sid Vicious, whichever one. But it resonates with me because I, as we said in the beginning, I used to work in the corporate world, and I moved beyond that and moved into this emerging field of health and wellness coaching. And I had the opportunity to kind of redefine myself and kind of set my own path for where, or blaze my own trail for where I want to go next in my life. And I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Love both songs. Good choices. Mm,
Thank you. Thank you.
yes, yes, yes. Amazing. Oh, you know what? I think this is sort of kind of the perfect ending to this wonderful chat, to leave it with those two songs. And hopefully, whoever watches or listens to this can take some strength from that too, knowing they can do it their way, and what doesn't kill them makes them stronger. I think that's a great message to close out this episode for sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I was just about to say the same thing. Thank you for coming on and sharing your powerful story. I had several moments where my tears were coming up and I had goosebumps, and you never know, maybe this message will find its way to Dave. That would be amazing if he would hear it. And I appreciate you being, yeah, so open and vulnerable, sharing your story and giving other people strength to know that they too can, you know, get their life back on track. Maybe it's not how they wish it was, but maybe it's, they're alive, they're breathing, and surely there is something that can make them want to
Yeah,
live and
yeah,
keep going.
exactly. You know, like life will deal you some pretty significant surprises sometimes, but maybe it's just because you need to go in a different direction, and that's the universe telling you it's time to
Mm.
go this way. So I really enjoyed being here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Laura. I enjoyed having you on my show. And we're going to leave it here, B-siders. I think this is the perfect way to end this incredible episode. And I hope you enjoyed it, as always. Any feedback, any questions, anything, please get in touch. And otherwise, thank you for spending time with the both of us today. And I shall talk to you and share more amazing stories around the power of music with you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in. Much music and love to you as always. Until next time. Bye for now. Bye.